Right, let's finish with some Warriors key points. I just want to lay out these key details for the Warriors, because it's pretty interesting. The first thing to know about the Warriors is that they have the best completion rate in the NRL. They're completing at 85%. Next best, Tigers, 83%. Warriors play Tigers on Sunday evening, 8 p.m., I believe. So that sets up that game. And this gives us an insight into how the Warriors are playing their footy, because, like, I talked last week about injecting Halasima and Vaimonga later in the game. Vaimonga actually came on against the Roosters in the first half, but the premise is still the same. They're playing the long game. They're playing patient footy because they want to set up the win late in the game. And I think both tries, I think it was the same story as the Sea Eagles game, where the Warriors just went into the grind, and then Harris Tavita scores his try in the 65th minute. Leotawa scores in the 70th minute. So they win the game at the end of the game. Having the best completion rate for the second season in a row helps you win the long game. One thing told me, or reinforced this idea about the Warriors playing the long game, and it was Andrew Webster saying they were playing the long game. But there was also something that I observed. So the Warriors, they finished their set. I think they're first for post-contact meters as well. If you're completing your sets, you're running hard, you're going to be getting a lot of post-contact meters. And wait, let me just go even deeper into this, because I got to give a shout out to my boy, the big doggy, my favorite player in the world, the one and only former Dragon, Jackson Ford, shining in his best role, bench man. Like, it kind of pissed me off when he was starting, but to be fair, everything in that first game sucked. So whatever. Somehow, so the Warriors are first in post-contact meters, as well as being first in completion rate. Stash that away with your Aotearoa vitamins. Shans Nickel Clockstar, 30 runs, 316 meters, whatever, 10 meters per run, 30 runs. That was crazy. So he's obviously leading the Warriors for post-contact meters. Somehow, he has one more post-contact meter than Jackson Ford. Jackson Ford is the second best post-contact meter eater at the Warriors. Shout out to Jackson Ford. I sees you. I didn't see you in round one. Oh, you pissed me off, to be honest. You didn't piss me off. Andrew Webster pissed me off by selecting you to start. But he's turned it around. Shout out to Jackson Ford. Big effort against the Roosters. What was my actual point that I was trying to make, though? So the Warriors, they get the big post-contact meters. Nickel Clockstar's running. Jackson Ford's just charging downfield like Jason Taumalolo. Shout out to Jackson Ford. And then the Warriors just do a bomb. And they bomb to Daniel Tupou. They're on the other side of the field next time. They bomb to Dom Young. So the Warriors are just kicking in the air to the two tallest players on the field. That doesn't make much sense. But it makes sense because they don't give a shit. This is the thing of 2023. What is it all about? Turn the ball over down their end of the field, smash them. Why did the Warriors keep kicking to the two tallest players on the field? Because they didn't care. They wanted them to catch the ball, smash them. And that's what they did. And then they win the game by just doing that over and over again. The closer they get to the try line, the more they compete for the ball. Chanel Harris-Tavita scored his try, competing for the ball because he kicked 30 to 40 meters out from the Roosters try line. But the Warriors kicking constantly to Daniel Tupou and Dom Young told me they don't care about competing. Those kicks are the sole purpose of those kicks is to turn the ball over down the Roosters' end of the field and smash them. And they always smash the opponent down their end of the field. That's what happens when you got James Fisher-Harris, Mitch Barnett, Aaron Clark, Jackson Ford, the freak himself, Vaimunga, Niokore, Halasima. Those dudes smash the opposition players as they're getting off their own try line, as they're getting out of their own territory. Now, of course, an Aussie commentator watches that and they're like, whoa, you got to compete for the ball. What are you doing? No, this is how the Warriors play their rugby league. They have the best completion rate in the NRL, and they just turn the ball over down there into the field, smash them, do it again, do it again, do it again. Can you keep up? Because if you can keep up, well, Halasima's entering the game 60 minutes in. You're not going to be able to tackle him when you're tired. I've got two, so I had that trio, Fisher, Harris, Barnett, Aaron Clark. I'm not saying it's the best middle forward trio. I'm not saying Fisher Harris is the best prop. But I'm happy with those three players. I am happy putting those three players up against any middle forward trio in the NRL. I'm not saying Ali Leotawa, Dimitri Vaimunga, and Leka Halasima are the three best youngsters in the NRL. I'm not saying another NRL team, I'm not saying the Warriors have the three best youngsters after 3 games. But I'm happy with those three. You give me any other 3 youngsters. So, of course, another club, they might have 1 youngster who's awesome. They might have 2. They might have 3. But I'm still going to be happy with Leotawa, Vaimunga, and Halasima. The way they have played to start this season. That is a factor for the Warriors. Because Leotawa was awesome. Vaimunga played a few extra minutes. And Halasima's... he might be the best youngest player in the NRL. Now, of course, what about Lockie Galvin? What about this Aussie? What about that? I don't care. Halasima's awesome. The Warriors are also first for dummy half runs. And this is one of the craziest stats that I've found. Wade Egan is first for dummy half runs.
Stacks up, yeah.
That's crazy. Well, that's not crazy. That just makes sense. As you said, it stacks up. He's the dummy half. Warriors are first for dummy half runs. But Wade Egan has twice as many dummy half runs as the next best dude, number 2. And Wade Egan has averaged 10 meters per dummy half run in all 3 games. So not only is Wade Egan doing the most dummy half running, but he's getting 10 meters every time. Average. That's... Wade Egan's not fast. He's not explosive. He just cruises out a dummy half, doing his slow-mo thing. And he's doing it a lot, and he's making a lot of meters. So when you factor that into completions, dominating territory, winning the physicality battle, Wade Egan's a key factor in that, as I said, with Shans Nickel-Clockstow as the barometers, because Egan is busy around the ruck. He's engaging defenders around the ruck, which tires those defenders out and opens up space out on the edges. So that's a really good wrinkle for Wade Egan. The Warriors are... what have I got here? So they're 2-1 in the NRL. They're 3-0 in New South Wales Cup. That means the Warriors are 5-1 across their top 2 grades. That seems notable. But
5-0 in Australasia.
That's true. 0-1 in America, because America sucks.
Yeah, America's terrible. We've established this several times in several different contexts in the last few weeks. So America's terrible.
And in this one podcast. But so the Warriors are 5-1 in the top 2 grades, and they are 1-9 in the under 21s and under 19s. That's a very interesting kind of just glimpse at where the Warriors are at. Of course, I maintain my focus at the New South Wales Cup level. I'm not worried about under 21s or anything else, because the youngsters keep helping the New South Wales Cup team win. So those are good youngsters. And this is a New South Wales Cup team that is winning for the 3rd season in a row, with youngsters, with NRL players, with just a good, solid reserve grade team. And it's very impressive how the Warriors are doing that across their top 2 grades. And now they take on the Tigers, which will be a fascinating matchup. We'll talk about it more in the bonus podcast on Thursday. Of course, we have to wait and see how the teams are named. But it will be a very interesting game, because I'm curious to see how the patient completion territory battle looks for the Warriors against the Tigers. Tigers finished strong in their win. Who did they play? The Dolphins, I think, last weekend. So they finished strong as well in their last outing, which sets up a good game against the Warriors on Sunday evening. One last stat for you. The Warriors are 16th for penalties conceded. So they are one of the fewest penalized teams in the NRL. So when you go, okay, they got the best completion rate in the NRL, let's get the average, and there's still, the Dragons and the Warriors are the only teams conceding fewer than 4 penalties per game this season. So let's just do those 2 stats. They have the best completion rate in the NRL, and they are one of the most disciplined teams at giving away penalties. That's a recipe I think Warriors fans can be proud of. But just those 2 facts alone. And it also goes against every stereotype that anyone has about the Warriors. So that's where we're at